Hey everybody, this is Greg Gossett from Gossett Trading and Mentoring Live, and today is Friday, April 9th, 2021. We're in the final day of the trading week and we're in the final hour of the trading day. The final hour of the trading day, in my opinion, is the most important time to make your buying and selling decisions for your swing trades, because you can see what the large financial institutions are doing at the end of the day. You can see where they are moving the price. And I believe making your buying and selling decisions based upon the final closing price or right before the close gives you a long-term edge in your trading as far as making your buying and selling decisions. So thank you all for coming today. I hope you're doing well. I hope you're having a nice day. It's a beautiful day here in Utah, nice and sunny out. Feels like spring's in the air. I appreciate you coming and spending time here. I hope you are learning something useful. And I always look forward to this time of the day to see all my trading friends. So currently, the Dow is up 142 points, up 0.42%. The NASDAQ is up slightly, up 6 points, up 0.04%, so just about break even, and the S&P is up 13 points, up 0.32%. So here's the plan for today. First of all, we are going to run the U.S. legal disclaimer. Secondly, we are going to come back, take a look at my current positions, talk about when I bought them, why I bought them, how I'm going to manage them going forward. Had some company over here today, so I did not make any day trades. So I don't have any day trades to show you today. After that, we are going to go over to the board where my students have their positions up on the board. We're going to go over and take a look and see how those are doing. I see a lot of green over there. I see some red as well. So we'll go through each one and see how those positions are doing. After that, we're going to talk a little bit about trader psychology. Very important part of the podcast, in my opinion. Trader psychology is the most important part of trading. It's the most important skill that you'll ever develop in trading. And that is basically just following your rules. You can have the best trading plan in the world, but if you don't follow it, it really doesn't do you any good. It's like if you buy an exercise bike, it's great, but if you never use it, it doesn't really help you with the exercise, right? So we're going to talk about trader psychology. After that, I have gone down through my watch list. I have gone down through the results of Kamal's scanner today. I do have some potential end of day candidates to look at. Real quick, I have 3 requirements before looking to enter any trade. First, confluence combination of indicators on multiple time frames if possible. That is ideal. Second, we need a good risk to reward ratio, at least 2 to 1, because when we make money, we want to be able to make more than we lose based upon valid and strong support below you and based upon strong and likely resistance above you. If you make more than you lose on your average trade, then you don't even have to win. You don't even have to win 50% of your trades. You can win like 40% or 35% and still make money. That's why risk to reward is so important. And then lastly, before you hit the buy button on your computer, before you take that next trade, just make sure you spend a few minutes and ask yourself, is this really a good trade? Do I really need it? Is it a clean trade? Does it have a good risk to reward ratio? Am I calculating for volatility in the market? Am I position sizing correctly? Do I know where my emergency stop is? Do I know where my end of day stop is? Do I know where there are significant resistance points above me? Are you taking profits into strength like I do? Make sure you have a complete trading plan, because we don't know what the market is going to do ever. I wish we did. It would make trading a lot easier, but unfortunately that's reality. And but we have to at least know what we're going to do. That's the important part. All right. And then lastly, keep in mind correlation. Keep in mind correlation. The more highly correlated you get in any one sector like tech or energy or whatever, the more you get correlated. It's great if they all go up, but if the market goes down and they're correlated, they're all going to go down together. So keep that in mind. Our number one goal as a trader is to manage risk, and you have to consider correlation. You have to consider earnings. You have to consider position size and how many stocks you buy in one particular day. That all factors into risk. So you need to keep that in mind. Okay. All right. So we're going to keep all that in mind. I'm going to go through the end of day candidates, and I'll look for confluences, combination of signals, risk to reward ratios. I'll keep in mind correlation. And if I find something at the end of the day, I will go ahead and buy it. It's Friday, so I do trade on the weekly bars. And if you trade on the weekly bars as well, you make your decisions on Friday. So there are a few decisions I have to make on today with one of my current weekly positions. And then also I do have a potential end of week entry on AGQ on the weekly bars. So anyway, if I find something, gonna buy it near the close, after the market closes. If you have any questions for me, please just let me know. I'm happy to answer them. If you have any stock symbols that you would like me to look at, I'm happy to give you my humble opinion on them. And then lastly, if any of my students have any new entries or exits for me today, if you could just please wait till the end of the day or after the market's closed, and we'll spend as much time as we need to get them updated. Okay, so I'm going to run that US legal disclaimer, and I will be back in about 40 seconds. Thanks a lot. This video or live broadcast, like all instructional materials produced by Gossett Trading and Mentoring LLC, is created and published for informational and educational purposes only. Please carefully read and/or listen to the U.S. government required disclaimer before watching this video or live stream broadcast. The video link and disclaimer text are located in the description section of this video or live broadcast, here and here. Thank you so much. Okie dokie, Smokey. Let's see who is here today. Stephen Burns is first up on deck. Good to see you, Steve. Hope you're doing well. Thank you for coming today, as always. Always an honor and a privilege to have you here, Steve, and everything that you contribute to this channel. Thank you so much. Hope you and the dogs and Holly are all doing well. Steve says SCCO, PTON, and AGQ and UGL could all be sell signals today for me if the current action doesn't change dramatically in the next hour, which is unlikely. Okay, noted. And just let me know as we get closer to the end what any decisions that you've made today. RBLX has its first 520 crossover this week. Oh, okay. I don't you can see here on my charts I only have a 5. I mean, I'm sure it did have the 520 crossover. I guess there's not a whole lot of data here for my charts to look at. I guess that's probably the reason why. But yeah, that looks pretty strong. Under 50, over 50. We're over the 5, and you said that has a 520 crossover. So excellent. Excellent, excellent. Dan has the peace sign. Good to see you, Dan. Hope you are doing well. Peace sign right back at you. Gabriel. Hello, Gabriel. Nice to see you. Gabriel says hi all, and it's nice to see Gabriel. Thanks for coming. Lava is here. Good to see you, my friend. Hey, I look for that review. I still could not find that review, and I'm looking forward to reading it. Lava says LBRDK. Ooh, this already sounds like one that I can't. LBRDK. Oh, no, I got it. Okay. Return to value. Well, the way that my chart looks here, Lava, is we have not returned to value. We're below the value zone. Here's the 1 and the negative 1 ATR channel. So technically on that, we are down sideways motion V1 barely. Maybe earlier it's untriggered now, and false breakout to the downside, bounce off the 200. Weekly looks weird. Lots of candles with big wicks and almost no body. Mean anything? I mean, it's okay. I don't know what to make of the no body wicks. I mean, there's 490,000 shares traded. I honestly, I would be more likely to look for a V2. Here's day 1. Here is day 2. Day 2 washes out day 1. I'd like to see a move back up with a V2 and a false breakout from these lows right here. See, because if we had a V2 tomorrow, we would have a false breakout the downside and rejection of the 200 and a V2. But at that point, it depends how far the V2 went. Then I may not even buy it then. I may wait for a higher low V1 or V2 that tests back against a -1 ATR channel. Did we get under 30 today? No, we didn't get under 30. I think it's okay if we look over on the weekly. We bounce off the -1 ATR channel on the higher time frame. That's okay. It's okay. It's okay. I think I'll just leave it there. But good to see you, Lova. Mamal is here. Hello, everyone. Good to see you, Mamal. Hope you're doing well. Steve says Coinbase IPO starts trading next Wednesday as coin. Aha. Well, we'll have to follow that one. Jonathan says, evening, Greg and group. Good evening, Jonathan. Hope you are having a nice evening in Ireland, and I'm looking forward to our lesson on Sunday during the day. Frank is here. Hello, Greg and group. Hello, Frank. Good to see you. Hope you are doing well. Thank you for everything that you contribute to this channel. Kamal. Hey, Greg and game. Good to see you, Kamal. Hope you are doing well. And as just like I said for Frank, thank you so much for everything that you do for this channel, Kamal. I appreciate it. I'm sure everyone else does. David is here. Hi, Greg and group. Hi, Dave. Good to see you. Hope you are doing well. Having a nice day in Colorado. Lilia is here. Hi, Lilia. Hi, Greg and everyone. Happy Friday. Happy Friday to you as well. Steve says RBLX crossover was 3 days ago when the 20 EMA, but was just a number with no line. I missed it, but was likely too loaded with positions that day anyway. Oh yeah, because you're at max positions right now. Mamal said, I had a deep dip buy in Amazon. It never closed below previous day's close, but is getting close to the 70 RSI. Would you recommend selling half? Oh, that's right. You bought here with this nice little close over the 200. Look at this beautiful trade. Great risk to reward, and look at this thing go. Holy smokes. Up 6% in 5 days. That's pretty good. I would take 1% a day any day. Okay, so let's see. How high did this get? Did we reject the 70? Got to 69.45. That's a tough call. That's a tough call. If we go up on Monday, then we definitely will reject the 70 RSI. Let's look over on the weekly. We are above the 1 ATR channel. I mean, technically, if I'm trading the deep dip buy exactly the way I'm supposed to, it did not reject the 70. So theoretically, no, probably you wouldn't. Now, that being said, we might go back down and you wish you would have. You know, I don't know if you're taking profits as it goes up, but I mean, at this point, I mean, if you're not taking intraday profits, I mean, at least selling a quarter, I don't think would be a bad idea, Mamal. Kamal wants to look at DDOG. Well, on the weekly, we're right up against that 50, Kamal. We got the top today, got about halfway of the big down bar. I mean, if you had not asked me about this and I was just scrolling through, I would not have been excited about this, to be honest with you. So me personally, I would pass. Yuvar is here. Good to see you, Yuvar. Hope you are doing well. Thank you as always for coming. Nigma is here. Hello, Nigma. Hope you are doing well. Mamal says, thank you so much for the guidance. Yeah, that's a tough one on Amazon. I mean, it depends. I mean, you know, when I look at that, my gut feeling is, okay, we're getting probably pretty close to a top. But if I sell some now and it keeps going up, I'm like, oh, I shouldn't have done that because, you know, the rules for the deep dip buy course don't really call for you to do anything because it's made a higher high, it's made a higher low. It has not rejected the 70 RSI. If it rejected the 70, yes, that would be an easy call. But if you didn't get out of anything on the way up, if you didn't scale out of anything, I don't think it's a bad idea at least to take like a half. It wouldn't hurt, right? I mean, you've made 6% in 5 days on Amazon. That's pretty good. At least that's how I look at it. All right, Frank has a poem for us. Let's get into the poem. This is going to be awesome because it's from Frank, and whatever Frank does is pure awesomeness. Frank says, help yourself and you help another. Good trading earns profits that will help you and others. Oh, that's so true. Our process is a journey where we grow and discover. We never trade alone when we care for our brothers. Frank, man alive. I mean, Frank, it's just so amazing. I mean, what a gift you have. Unbelievable. Let's read that again. Help yourself and you help another. Good trading earns profits that help you and others. Our process is a journey where we grow and discover. We never trade alone when we care for our brothers. Wow. How good is that, everybody? All right, let's get over and take a look. All right, Kamal, Gary, and David and I liked this trade yesterday. It was a V1. It was a false breakout to the downside. It was a close above the 5 EMA, but unfortunately, not everything works, right? So I bought yesterday at 254.83. It's 251.22. It is down 1.46% today. We gapped down lower. We came back up. We tested the halfway of that washout bar, rejected it, came back down. So this is a pretty easy trade. If we close below 252.20, I will get out of the trade because that's my trade plan. It was a good risk to reward ratio. I think it was a good setup. Tested the lows, reversed back up. But now, but it's a small loss, percentage wise, it's a small loss. You might take a 1% loss, 2%, 3% loss, but you can see very often on here, there are 4, 6, 8, 12, 15, 20% wins. And so, 120% win pays for a lot of little losses, right? And one of those may not become a loss that, if you're risking 1, 2%, that may turn into another 5 or 6 or 8%. So I like to take my profits on big wins and invest those back into new setups that have better risk to reward ratios and more room to the upside. So if we do close below 252.20, I will be getting out and locking in a loss on Boeing. Berkshire Hathaway has been a great trade. I bought this all the way back down here. Such a perfect setup. I mean, it's just perfect. We're above the value zone. We come into the value zone. We have sideways motion. We have a false breakout to the downside from this low, plus we trigger a V1. I bought here at 250.86. We moved up to 1.5 ATR trailing stop. I had a close below the previous day's low. I sold half, but I kept the other half. And luckily I did. This has moved up nicely. I did hit one profit target today here at 265.34. And, this is one of those ones where, this is a 5.45% win entry to current price. So that pays for, 2, maybe 3 losers, right? So we're at 67 RSI. We've moved past the 65 RSI level. So if we do close below the 5 EMA, I will get out of everything. Or if we go to the upside and it rejects the 70 RSI, I'll get out of half. And then if that happens, if I get another close below the previous day's low, I'll get out of the second half. Budweiser, let's see, myself, Jonathan, Frank, Gary, and David did take this at about 62.91. It's 65.26. It is up 3.62%. I took this on the monthly. Last month, at the end of the month, I took the monthly trade. I took the higher low V2 while MACD was positive. And like I said, it's up 3.83% so far this month. So it's been a really good trade. Gold. Well. Gold. Who is in gold? Just me? All right. I did take gold back here on the 7th with the 520 crossover. I bought it at 162.75. Yesterday had a big move up, took some profits like I always do. I think I hit 2 profit targets. And then today, right back down. This is called an island reversal right here, by the way. See how we have a gap to the left and a gap to the right? It's not a great price action, but the price is still over the 5 and the 20. The 5 is still over the 20. And so I will be keeping this. I will just be playing this out the way I'm supposed to based upon how I trade. If we close below both the 5 and the 20, I would get out of half. If the 5 crossed back under the 20, I would get out of the second half. But so far it is down today, but definitely nicely still up on the trade. GPN. All right, so Lilia and I took GPN back here on the April 1st, on April Fool's Day. With the confluence of signals, 520 crossover, V2, false breakout to the downside, got in at 207.72. Currently it's 212.65. This orange line here is my trailing stop level. Have not yet achieved that level. Once I do, I'll go into trailing stop mode. But this trade pretty good so far, up 2.38%. Light. I took Light with Lilia on the weekly, return to value, false breakout to the downside, V1, blah, 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 right? I bought at 91.74. It's currently 90.81, so it is down 1.91% on the week. I'm having to watch the 50 RSI. If it closes below 50 RSI, I would get out of half of my position. But so far, it looks like it's holding. There's no chart damage done to this chart. And so as is, it doesn't look like, unless it closes below the 50, there's nothing I'm going to have to do. MasterCard. All right, Tracy, Gary, David, Jonathan, Miko, and myself did buy MasterCard back here on the 5th, 520 crossover, 368.54. You can see it has been moving up nicely. It is up 2.59% from entry. It did hit my trailing stop level today, which is the orange line. So I am now in trailing stop mode on MasterCard, meaning that if I get a close below the previous day's low, I will sell half. Because if we get a close below the previous day's low, that could indicate some coming volatility or a move downward. So I just want to take a precautionary measure, get out if we get it. But so far, I don't have to, right? It just got to that level. So this one's doing well. Netflix, Tracy, Jonathan, and I did buy Netflix with this deep dip buy rejection of the 200, bought it at 511.81, and it is just motored up like a champion of champions. It is down a little bit today, just barely 23 cents, but it is up 7.76% on the trade. No profit targets today on this one. The Qs, all right. Frank, David, Steve, and I did buy the Qs. Bought back here at 313.82 with the V2, false breakout to the downside, 318.82. It's currently 335.96. It's up 0.27% today, but nicely up on trade. Steve also took this trade. He took a different signal. He took a 520 crossover signal at 318.92. So two different signals. Both of them doing really well. We're at a 65.79 RSI. So, you know, now that we're above 65, if we close below the 5 EMA, I will get out, but I'll be looking for upside rejection of the 70, ideally, in order to lock in profits. And then SPY, I buy the SPY every day at close. I sell it the first thing the next morning. I bought it yesterday at the close at 408.52, sold it this morning at 408.44. So 8-cent loss. What are you going to do, right? But I will be buying this at the close. I'll hold it overnight and I will sell it first thing tomorrow morning. Monday morning, excuse me. All right, let's take a look, see what everybody has. Johan and Kamal bought Clover. False breakout to the downside, V2, bought at 757. Didn't do much for a week, and then yesterday had a huge up bar. I think that was up 20.41% today. So it gave a little back today. It's down 5.3%. It did give a little bit back, but it has held the halfway, the 50% retracement of the big up bar. We have big up bar. We did hold the 50% level, which is good. So down a little bit, but Johan and Kamal are still nicely up on the trade. DocuSign. So I only have Bruce left in this. Close under, close back over the 250. Bought at 202.20. Up, 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 up. Down 1 cent today, but still this trade doing very well. Up 4.67% from entry. So way to go, Bruce. Team. Kamal bought Team yesterday. Oh, I remember this. Higher low V2. Bought it at 224.20. It's 224.40. So it did go down earlier in the day. You got another 520 crossover today. So that's a good confirmation there, Kamal. So up on the day and up on the trade. Steven and David. Oh, okay. David bought Apple at 127.90. Steve bought yesterday at 130.22 with a 1030 EMA crossover. It's up 1.65% today. So very nice, David. Very nice, Steve. Goldman Sachs. Lilia bought Goldman Sachs yesterday at 331.40. It's currently 330.62, so it gapped open, higher, reverse. So it is down on the trade and it is down on the day. GNRC. Steve bought GNRC with a 520 crossover at 329.49. It's currently 329.67. So it is down a little bit today, but slightly up on the trade. AMD. David bought AMD at 81.50 with the close over, or with the 520 crossover and close over the 200. It's 83.15. So down a little bit today. Rejected the 50 RSI a couple times in a row. Down a little bit today, but nicely up on the trade. PKI. All right. Jonathan bought PKI at 129.70. He sold half, took some profits, is up 1.26% today. So up on the day and up on the trade. Not too bad. Steve, Lilia, Gary, and Tracy did buy SCCO, Southern Peru Copper, with the 520 crossover. Bought it at 72.38. It's currently 70.4. It's down 2.86%. So down on the day, down on the trade. And it looks like the 520 crossover is crossing back under. AGQ. Steve bought AGQ at 39.68. Bounce at the deep dip buy bounce at the 30 RSI. Is down a little bit today, but Steven is still nicely up on the trade. 9.71%. Way to go, Steve. Square up again. Johan, Gary, and Gary bought 520 crossover, close above 50. Look at this beautiful trade. My gosh, up another 1.37% today. Up 9.74% on this trade. Unbelievable. That is fantastic. Oh, give me 1 second, please. Take care of a little business over here on my end. Okay. PTON. Steve bought PTON with 520 crossover at 115.21. Had a beautiful day yesterday. Came back a little bit today, so down on the day, but still nicely up on the trade for Steve. Lemonade. Lilia is in Lemonade at 89.50. Has moved up nicely. Then we have some sideways, up and down, up and down, up and down. It is down 2.88% today, but it is she is still up on the trade. So congratulations, Lilia. Riot. Gary sold credit spreads 45, 42, 50s. It's currently 49, so he is above the $45 price. So he just needs that to hold above there until April 16th. BYD has been a great trade for Paxton and for Tracy. It's been a long-term trade. They bought all the way back here at 47.80, moved up nicely, nicely, nicely. Locked in profits here, which was good. That looked a little concerning at 58.60, and they still have the rest at 63.89. So this trade from entry to Current price is up about 25%. Wow. Way to go. Steve, another great trade for Steve on the 520 crossover on TQQQ. Bought that at 95.49. This has been a monster trade. This has been a fantastic trade. 65.70 RSI up 10.55%. So congratulations, Steve Burns. UGL. Steve bought UGL, which is double leverage gold. He bought it at 55.73. He based it upon the 520 crossover on GLD. Bought it at 55.73. Just like gold yesterday, rocketed up, came right back down today. See the high here with the gaps on both sides? That's called an island reversal bar. So anyway, I'm not sure what Steve's going to do with UGL here, but it is down on the day, but it's definitely still up on the trade for Steve. CMG up another. Frank bought CMG, which is Chipotle, at 14.52. Has moved up really, really nicely here. Up another 0.49% today. Frank bought a half a position, sold a quarter of a profit, but that is up 5.22%. NVAX, all right, this is Frank's trade. Biggest trade I've seen all year. Frank bought it at 135. More than doubled, not too shabby. Sold 90% of his shares up here after they doubled. He kept 10% for funsies, and well, it has gone down significantly since, but he sold 90% of his when it was right there near the high. So up a little on the day, still up on the trade, and the majority of prices locked in when it was over double. Last but not least, NVIDIA. Steve bought NVIDIA with the 1030 EMA crossover. He bought it here at 557.74. It's 573.01. It's up slightly today, but Steve is up 2.77% on the trade. So good trading, everyone. Everything looks pretty good. I have to say. Okay. Well, listen, speaking of Steve Burns, I have a great post here from Steve Burns over on his Twitter channel. And if you are not familiar with the Twitter channel, you should get familiar with it. At S. Joseph Burns, or just Steve Burns on Twitter. Let's read and see what Steve has to say. If you're struggling to build a trading system, here are things to consider. So if you're trying to build a trading plan, there are things you have to consider. What are those things? Number one, watch list. You have to have a good watch list, right? I have a bunch of stocks on my watch list, good fundamentals, good variety of stocks in different sectors. Time frame. What time frame do you want to trade on? Some people just trade the monthly time frame, if you can believe that. Some people trade the weekly. Most people trade the daily. I like to trade all three. Some people just trade the 39-minute chart on intraday. But in my opinion, I like to trade multiple time frames. But get a time frame that you're comfortable with. Backtest, like your crossovers. Do they backtest well? Are they profitable? Is there an edge to the system? Diversification for markets and signals. Very important. I like to trade different markets. I like to get outside of equities like gold, bonds, silver. And I like to take different signals. I don't just have one signal. I have multiple signals that I use. And I think the more diversity you have among the type of signals that you use, the better. Some are going to be, you trade different time frames. Some trades are going to be longer. Some trades are going to be shorter. Some trades you're looking just for a bounce, like an under 30 over 30. Some trades you're looking for a trend, like a 520 crossover. Some trades you're kind of looking just for a move back up to the previous high after the dip, like a V1 or a V2. But very important to have diversification in different markets and different strategies, different signals. Position sizing, you hear me talk about this all the time. You need to position size correctly. You need to have a maximum allowed loss that is worth something if it goes up, but if it goes down, it's not going to destroy your account. Good rule of thumb is 1%. Max risk exposure, that's when we talk about account heat. How much of your total, what is your maximum risk on all the positions that you have? If that happens one day, and it will happen, you have to be okay with it. Drawdown risk tolerance. Yeah. You know, if you're willing to take a 20% drawdown, you might be able to make 30 or 40% to the upside. But, you know, if you're willing to take a 5 or 6% drawdown in your total capital, you might be able to make 12, 15, 18%. That's about where I am. Win percentage. What is your winning percentage? Doesn't have to be high. Don't confuse winning percentage having to be high. You know, high winning percentages feel good, but then when you have a loss, it wipes out a lot, right? But you know, get a feel for what your winning percentage is. Risk to reward ratio. Talk about this all the time. What is your risk to reward ratio? And return estimate. So, you know, win percentage, risk to reward, and return estimate, they all factor in together. But so these are all components of creating a trading plan. You just can't, it's not just, hey, where am I going to buy? That, you know, where am I going to buy and where am I going to sell? It's important, but there's so many other things that you have to factor in. So thank you, Steve Burns. Appreciate everything that you do for this channel, and thank you for this great post. A good post for me to read and remember, and so it was helpful for me. I hope it's helpful for everyone else. Dan says, Frank, touching. Thank you, Master Sergeant. There you go. Enigma says, yep, I care for my broker. Gary is here. Good to see Gary. Gary says, hello. Frank says, thanks, Jonathan. Steve says, I also got whipsawed in gold using UGL. Yep, I just went over that. Johnson is here. Good to see you, Johnson. Hope you're doing well. Kamal says, AYX with a camel emoji. Well, just because you put the camel emoji, I'm all in. Well, on the weekly, you have the 200 below you. It's a higher low V1 to the upside, false breakout to the downside. Yeah, I quite like it. I actually quite like that. Ava is here. Hi, good to see you, Ava. Hope you're doing well. Uh-oh, what's happening? What is happening? Don't scare me like that. ELY, Callaway Golf. It's pretty good. It's a return to value, false breakout to the downside, nice V1. MACD is going positive. I'd watch that 50 RSI level. Ideally, I'd like to see that get above 50 if possible. I don't think we've rejected it yet. It got right about there. That's a tough one. Me personally, I probably would not entertain this unless we got above the 50 RSI. Morgs is here. Good to see you. Spike in the Q's 15-minute chart. I just saw that. Sebastian is here. Good to see you, buddy. Okay. Yeah, I saw I missed your calls last night, Sebastian. I will definitely call you over the weekend. I tried earlier. I didn't get you. So, okay. So that's the one I'll use there. Steve Burns says, nice spike, Yuvar. Kamal says, Fubo. Yeah, big spike. But a lot of selling into that high as well. MACD went positive. That's good. I don't know. It looks a little funky to me, to be honest with you. I mean, even if it had closed at its high, I would think it's chasey. And now I'm a little concerned that it's come all the way back down. And I guess it depends what is going to be your stop on that trade. I think that's the most important thing there. All right, let me take care of little biz. Okay. Give me 1 sec, please. Okay, that's all taken care of. Oh, one other thing I have to look at. All my little notes. All right. So I'll look at that one in a second. All right. Dominic. Hey, Dom. Good to see you. Dom says, hey, buddy, what do you think about Mara? Thanks and have a good one. I hope you have a good one as well. Mara. Well, nothing really sticks out to me here, Dominic. We had a big move up. We had a pull back into the value zone. I would still need a V1 or a V2, or at the very least an under 50, over 50, or a washout of the previous low here. As it is right here, right now, I don't see any clear buy signals on that, Dominic. Sorry, I hope probably doesn't help much, but yeah, as right here, I don't see much. Gary says, Kamal, Fubo announced that it has acquired the exclusive live streaming rights to the qualifying matches of the South American Football Confederation for the Qatar World Cup 2020. Wow, well, that is big news. Our advertising revenue just went up. I mean, you know, we're back at halfway. Certainly better than buying it up here, but it did reject the negative 1 ATR channel, did create a fractal over here, rejected the negative 1 ATR channel on the weekly. I don't know. I just don't really see, you know, really have to try to make that work in my mind, and I don't see that working right this second. I'm having to stretch it to make it seem like a legitimate entry. I mean, the 520 or the MACD crossover does help, but not enough. Not enough for me. All right, let's take a look at some potentials. All right, Beidou, nothing, but it is setting up for a decent V2. Probably, maybe if we go up on Monday, we'd have a false breakout to the downside, and we would have a V2. That would be good. And we would have a fractal as well. So I would have to wait for BIDU to go up and trigger a valid V2 in order for me to get interested on that. ALKS. Well, looked, you know, we've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days over the 200-day moving average. Now it looks like we're going under. Earlier it looked good, but I don't see anything here at the moment. EWX, emerging markets, doing very well, but 63 RSI way up here. No, that doesn't, I don't see anything there. SIC, looks like we triggered a V2 and a false breakout to the downside yesterday, moved up, but I don't see anything significant here. We have a MACD crossover, which is good, but not enough. Bristol Myers Squibb. I mean, this does look a little enticing with the V1, false breakout to the downside, and the bullish engulfing bar. But you know me, I get very concerned when we start getting halfway back up into a big down bar. We had a lot of volume on this big down bar. We've rallied back up, and look where it stopped exactly. Right, Lilia? Halfway. It's amazing. Doesn't always happen that way, but you can see it got right there, and that was about it. So no, I don't like that. Wall, false breakout to the downside, V2, did gap up, too big of a gap, but it did fill the gap. This technically is valid. 273,000 shares, that's not a lot. We've rejected the third ATR channel. No, I don't like that. DKNG, earlier in the day, well, it is a V2. Here is, it's a higher low V2, but it's already rejected the 50-day moving average and already rejected the 50 RSI. I don't like that at all. ILMN. technically a V1, but it looks a little janky to me. I like the weekly much better. See the false breakouts to the downside. See the V2. I like the weekly much better than I like the daily. Pega. Whoa. That one's rocketing on up there. Be interesting to see how it reacts around this 200-day moving average, though. I don't see buying this. I would actually rather see this close above the 200 to have that 200 support below me. But as is right here, it could very well peg that 200-day and just come all the way back down. DocuSign, 520 crossover. Bruce is already in that. Does have a crossover. Not too shabby. Not too shabby. Great trade for Bruce there. CERN. No, I don't see anything here that's interesting actually at all. Domino's Pizza. Well, Steve had mentioned Domino's Pizza the other day, and we had just rejected the 200-day, but now we've finally gotten above it. It's 69.65, big day today. It's really already rejected that 70 RSI. If we measure it, let's measure it. Now 69.98, close enough for me. And it's too high. It's right for me. It's too high up against the third ATR channel. AGQ. Well, I told you about a weekly trade that I was considering, and this is it. Return to value, sideways motion, false breakout to the downside, washed out the previous low, triggered a V2, over the 50-day moving average. The only question I have though is, did not reject the 50. I kind of like AGQ. I have silver on the daily, but I do kind of like AGQ here as a weekly trade. I already have lots and lots of trades on the daily, and so I kind of like the idea of getting outside of equities, getting outside onto another time frame. And so this is what I'm looking at today is AGQ. So let me put this over here. $40.36. All right. Getting very close to that next profit target there on the Qs. All right. Samuel says, I saw some move post market after the close on Fubu yesterday. Kamal wants to look at Cyber. Cool emoji. False breakout to the downside V1, although this big down bar does concern me a little bit. Kamal, to be honest with you. Ava says ROK. Pretty good. Solid bullish engulfing bar, solid V1, solid false breakout to the downside, above 50 RSI, 351,000 shares traded. Not too bad. Big reversal off the bottom. You know, if I bought this, my stop would be right here. Ava, halfway the washout bar. If we lost the 50 RSI, I'd sell half. If it then closed below the end of day stop, I'd sell all. But pretty good risk to reward ratio. If we can, you know, if the possibility is to go back up and test that previous high, which is definitely possible. Steve says, I exited the falling positions due to a bearish candlestick. Okay, so Steve exited AGQ for 10.51% gain. Very nice trade. PTON for 2.85% gain. Nice trade, Steve. UGL for 0.48% gain. SCCO for a 2.56% loss. Way to go. Way to go, Steve. Nice. Lots of winners there. One tiny little loser. Looks good. Steve says, thanks, Gary. Gary says, SCCO, the 520 is crossed back under. Steve says, I am still holding TQQQ, QQQ, NVIDIA, GNRC, and Apple. Steve says, I exited due to the bearish candle invalidating the crossover in my strategy. Johnson says, plan V1. Yeah, it is a V1. It's way too high for me. I need to buy those V1s in the value zone, though, Johnson. But RSI is below 50. Well, 200 above. Yeah, that very likely going to act as resistance above there. Yeah, I don't. That's not something I would look at personally. So the only thing I'm going to be adding today is silver on the weekly with the return to value, false breakout to the downside. On the daily, it is a little bit overbought, and Steve sold that. But on the weekly, you know, it changes things around because I'm buying fewer shares because it's the weekly. The ranges are larger, gives me a little more breathing room with smaller amount of position size. So I will be buying AGQ here today on the weekly time frame. Oh, and I have to get out of, oh, it's going to be close. It's going to be close on Boeing. It's right there, photo finish, whether I'm going to keep that or not. Better make sure that I cancel all my Boeing limit orders before I forget. Okay, 1 done. 2 done. And I think light's okay on the weekly. It looks like it's going to hold the 50, so I will be holding that. I won't have to sell half. So I'll be buying AGQ on the weekly. I'll be buying SPY, and I'm going to have to watch Boeing here at the end of the day to see whether or not. So right now, 250.220 is my line in the sand. It's 251.90, so I may have to just go ahead and sell that. About 5 minutes to go. Yeah, let me look at that for you. SQ got to, looks like about 65.98, Gary, on Square. David says, planning to sell half of the AMD on the 50 rejection. Okay. Yep, 2 days of 50 rejection. All right, I think I'm going to go ahead and sell Boeing. Well, I'll wait, I guess. It could hang back over. Okay, so we're all good there. I think so. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and buy AGQ because I'm going to have to focus on all right, so I bought AGQ on the weekly, but now I'm looking at Boeing. This is going to be close. 252.20, it's 252.13. Huh. 3 cents away. Now it's above. So it's above. So at this point, it looks like I'll be holding. I held. Well, there you go. All right. So, all right. I bought SPY for the over weekend trade at 411.49, and I bought AGQ at 43.96. All right, so I bought SPY here. That's the one I did not want to sell at the open, right? That's okay. 411.49. Okay, we're right up into the ATR values up here. Whenever we start getting up into these indicators, in my opinion and in my experience, that's when it goes down. But who knows? I could be wrong. I could be wrong. And then AGQ, I bought on the weekly at $43.96. On the weekly. 43.96 is 43.92. And then Steve, I'll just have to take a look and see whether or not Steve sold that. So, all right. So those are my two positions today. And if any of my students have any updates for me on the board, this is the time. Just put them in the chat. I will get to them in a second. Just real quick, 3 quick pieces of business. First, I do teach private one-on-one lessons in the evening time via Skype. I teach a 15-hour course in 5 sessions. Each session is 3 hours. I teach you all 5 of the setups that I use in my trading that I've used over the last 25 years. I teach you step-by-step everything: how to position size, emergency stops, end-of-day stops, overhead resistance, profit targets, trailing stops. Everything you need to know on how to trade these 5 approaches, I will teach you in this class. It's a really good class. It's one-on-one. I think it's the best way to learn. It costs $1,750, but in my opinion, it's really worth every single penny because of the attention that you get and the length of time, right? 15 hours one-on-one. So if you are interested, I know you're going to be a better trader when you're finished with the course. All you have to do is send me an email. The email's in the description of this video. And just send me an email and just let me know that you're interested in possibly taking the course. I'll reach back out to you. I'll say, let's set up a Skype call. Skype call's free. I just want to learn more about you and your trading challenges and what you hope to achieve. And then it's also a good time for you to ask me questions about the course, any specific questions that you have about the course. And then after our Skype call, you can think about it. If you want to, in the future after that, and if you want to get going with it, all you have to do is email me back, say, Greg, I'm ready to go. We'll get it scheduled, and off we will go, and it will be fun. They're fun too. They are fun. Secondly, I do have a new course, online course, available on udemy.com. It has been a really good seller. I've gotten a lot of good feedback from it. In that course, I teach you the deep dip buy stock trading strategy, which I use all the time, both intraday, daily, weekly, monthly. It's a great approach, and it's on udemy.com. It's very, very affordable. It's about $12 to $15 when it's on sale. I think it's on sale right now. If you have 12 or 15 bucks kicking around, take it. Take the course, study it. If you have any questions while you're taking the course, just come in here in the chat. I'm happy to answer them for you. But I have got a lot of good reviews and a lot of good feedback and email from people telling me how much they like it. And so if you're interested in taking the course, take it this weekend. It's 9.5 hours. It's 26 videos, 15 study guides, and it's very, very affordable. If you're interested, the link to that course is in the description of this video here. And then lastly, if you like today's podcast, I really would appreciate it if you could hit the thumbs up button. It does help keep the channel around. It helps build the channel. It helps YouTube know that there's some valuable content because of the interaction. So, if you have learned something today that was helpful, or maybe this week, before you get on with your weekend, if you could hit the thumbs up button, I would sincerely appreciate it. Okay, so let's get over back to your business and see. So Steve is out of AGQ. Okay. So Steve's out, I'm in. I don't know if I like that. But it's different time frames, right? You look at things differently on different time frames. And Steve played this bounce here, and he did exceptionally well with it. Congratulations, Steve. All right, so I have you out of I have you out of AGQ. PTON. Steve is out of PTON with a profit. Very nice, Steve. UGL out of UGL with a profit. Very good. And then SCCO out with a loss on that one. All right, I have Tracy, Lilia, and Gary still in. So if there's any changes there, please let me know. All right, so I think we got Steve's taken care of. I think. Steve is still holding TQQQQQQ NVIDIA. Okay. All right. Gary is AGQ on the weekly. Kamal is AYX. Yeah, I like that one, Kamal. So I'm doing an interview today at 3 o'clock with 10-Minute Stock Trader with Christopher Uhl. So I'm excited about that. And when that comes out, I will post a link in case you want to watch that interview I'm doing on his podcast. Might be a week or so. I don't know before it comes out. But I always like doing interviews with Christopher Uhl. That'll be kind of fun. Frank is in Eli. That's Callaway Golf, right? Yeah. Yeah, makes sense. What you really need on that one, you need to get above the high over here on the 6 so you can trigger that fractal, and you might be able to get up to 2880 fairly easily. I hope so anyway. $27.75, already in the money. Way to go. Frank. All right. Dan says, someone smashed the like button. Yes, thank you, Dan. Always appreciate that. Yeah, if you like today's podcast, if you would, I would really appreciate it if you could hit that like button. AMD out of half. Okay, so I'll put a little marker over here for you, Dave, and sell half there. Guess I should use the right tense. Oh man, now I can't even spell the word. Sold one half. Oh, and DocuSign. Okay, good. Yep, with the 520 crossover. In my lessons, I talk about this a lot because, Bruce took this with the close under 250, over 250. Wrote it up to a nice gain. Now we have the 520 crossover. So, it's just a personal decision. Some people, when they get one, they morph into a new trade. Sometimes just with the original shares they have left. Sometimes they just treat it like a brand new trade. And if they had 100 shares, but now they only have 50, they just reload back up to 100. But okay, good. 520 crossover. Oh, and Kamal, I'm sorry. Johan, Kamal, and Bruce have this. Sorry about that, Johan. And I just saw Bruce's name there. And then, so we're going to put here, we're going to put David with the 520 crossover. And I'll just note that here for myself. So it gets confusing sometimes. Lilia is out of SCCO. Okay, took you out of that, Lilia. Gary said the 520 on SCCO crossed back over, so I stayed in. Did it? Yes, it did. You are right. Lova says, I was getting out of 3 positions, but in the last half hour, they all gained enough, and the rules said to keep them. There you go. I have a lot of positions now, but all are green. It's a great problem to have. That is a great problem to have. Dan says, Greg, would you mind having a look at the weekly chart on VXF and SPY? Yes. VXF on the weekly. Nothing really stands out to me on the weekly here, other than we rejected the one ATR channel, but nothing really stands out to me here. And then SPY. Well, you know, what I'm thinking about, what I see here on the SPY is we're at 69.75. We are near the third ATR channel. It's very tough to get to the third ATR channel on the weekly. It's hard to get there on the daily. 92% of prices on the daily fail there, but on the weekly, it's even a more impressive feat. So, I mean, we're getting up to a confluence of like a 70 RSI near with the confluence of the third ATR channel. So, I mean, you know, look, it could keep going. Strong markets keep going. Strength begets strength and all of that. But I just look at the percentages and I just know that more times than not, if you get a confluence of a 70 RSI and the third ATR channel. But then again, you know, that's 3 points higher, the third ATR channel. So, you know, we could rally next week for sure. All right, so listen, before I let you go, let's read this together. It's always fun and it's true. If we all do one random act of kindness daily, we just might set the world in the right direction. It's so true. It's just so hard to do one random act of kindness daily. It's not that hard. You know, go out, be pleasant, hold the door open for someone, you know, just something. Just try to do one nice thing a day. Give them directions. You know, when I'm hiking in the mountain, I give people directions all the time, even if they don't ask for it. I just look at their face and I kind of know they have that lost look, right? So one nice thing for a human today, if you could also do one nice thing for an animal, that would be doubly as good. You know, I know animals very well and they really appreciate an act of kindness too. So do an act of kindness for an animal. Go out, do something nice for a human. It's going to make you feel better. It's going to make them feel better. And all around, it's good, right? Brian is here. Hey, Brian, good to see you, bud. Brian says, buy through tech earnings and sell in May. Interesting. Well, you know the old saying, I can't remember the old saying, sell in May. I mean, sell in May is kind of a well-known kind of proverb. What is it? Buy in November, sell in May, something like that. I have one thing I wanted to show you is this. I don't know if this is true, but it was interesting. This is from FX Hedgers. $40 million VIX call option bet placed Thursday that it will rise above $40 by mid-July. $40 million option bet. Can you imagine? Let's take a look and see. Let's see what the VIX is at right now. $16. 1663. So I don't know if this is correct, but this is from Reuters, I think. $40 million call option placed yesterday, that the VIX will rise above $40 by July. That would be a significant move up if I guess I would have to think somebody that bet $40 million on something. Well, yeah, it's like a 200%, right? Let's see. No, about 133% if they are correct. Can you imagine laying $40 million down on one call option bet that expires in July? It's 3 months away, everybody. I don't know. Maybe they're just going to lose their 40 million. Someone had to take that bet too, right? Somebody sold those calls as well. David says, happy weekend, guys. Thanks for the advice. You're welcome. Good to see you, David. Ava, have a lovely weekend, everyone. Thank you, Ava. You're very kind, my friend. Thank you. Dan says, thank you, Greg and Gossett. Thank you, Dan. Jonathan says, cheers, guys. Have a lovely weekend. I will see you on Sunday for our next lesson, Jonathan. Brian says, wow. Yep. Love says, sounds like $40 million doesn't protect you from trader psychology. Well, I guess we'll see. If it closes at $39.90 in July, 99 cents in July, the person still loses the $40 million. So, I mean, they have to get to 40, but they have to give above 40. They have to pay for the premium as well. Wow. All right, everybody, take care, all right? Have a good weekend. Be good, be kind, drive safe, have some fun, go on a walk. All the stuff I always say, right? So I'm looking forward to the weekend. Thanks again for coming. And we'll see y'all next week. Have a great weekend. Thank you. Bye. U.S. government required disclaimer. Stock, options, futures, and Forex trading is not appropriate for everyone. While there is a potential for large rewards, there is also a substantial risk of loss associated with trading. The material in this video or live broadcast is not geared towards any particular individual or to any particular financial situation and is not intended to meet the particular investment objectives of any viewer. This video or live broadcast, like all instructional materials produced by Gossett Trading and Mentoring LLC, is created and published for informational and educational purposes only. Any and all information contained in, implied, or referenced by this video or live broadcast is not to be construed as investment advice, and no representation is made that any individual or entity involved in production of this video or live broadcast is an investment or financial advisor or is registered or authorized to give any financial advice. We are publishers and educators only. Therefore, the various producers of this video or live broadcast will not accept liability for any loss or damage of any kind which may arise either directly or indirectly out of the use of any of this material, including any loss of profit. No representation is made that any account or investment will or is likely to achieve the profit or losses demonstrated. We recommend consultation with a licensed and qualified professional before making any investment decision. This video or live broadcast is not to be construed as an offer to buy or sell any security, financial instrument, or financial product of any kind. Notice is hereby given that any individual or entity involved in production of this video or live broadcast or their clients may have an interest in any security, financial instrument, or financial product mentioned or referenced. Any simulated or hypothetical performance result depicted does not represent actual trading and therefore may under or overcompensate for the impact of various market factors such as lack of liquidity. Thank you.